semester. I think last 3 semester kita akan discuss soalan-soalan tu. But I'm not so sure sama ada you all ada ke tak soalan tu. Kalau you tak ada, I will share dengan you the questions and then we discuss all those questions lah untuk that 2 hours lecture this week. Boleh ya? Kemudian you boleh get ready. Kemudian boleh get ready for the test 1 lah. So test 1 akan masuk sehingga tajuk is it this topic sehingga tajuk audit sehingga tajuk kualiti corporate governance and sehingga tajuk audit quality saja. Corporate governance and audit committee dia cuma masuk dalam quiz 2 later on. Okay. By the way, satu lagi nak discuss regarding your test. Bila I boleh buat your test? Selepas term break lah. First week after term break, you all busy ke tak?
Week 9 boleh, madam?
Week 9 tu berapa hari bulan? Sekarang ni kita week berapa sekarang ni?
Week 6.
Week 6 kan? Week 6. So next week cuti kan?
Yes.
Okay. So week 7 kita start on the 29 October. Week 8, 6 December. Week 9, 13 December. Terlambat tak lewat sangat ke?
Lewat je. Week 8 lah madam ataupun after midterm break?
I mean the second week after midterm break. Give you time to study.
Week 8. Yes.
So meaning that the first, meaning that the 6 hingga 10 hari bulan tu lah kan?
Yes.
Maybe kita boleh buat Friday on the 10th.
Kita orang ada test.
Friday on the 10th you ada test? Okay. Kalau macam tu, hari apa yang I boleh buat dengan you all? Buat malam pun tak apa.
Monday
on the 6th pun should be okay. Ke Monday on the 13th?
6 kot.
Monday on the 6th Kalau tak boleh buat daytime, kita boleh buat malam. Okay tak? Kalau malam tu kita start at 9 lah, 9 to 10:30.
Boleh madam.
Boleh ya? Okay. So that one nanti kita finalize it kemudian nanti. And then masa term break nanti, towards the end of term break, I will give you, kalau I sempat, nanti I discuss dengan ada team member, I terus bagi you tajuk untuk project paper. Okay? Project paper tak susah sangat lah kot I rasa kot. Okay? Kemudian after term break tu I akan terus masuk tajuk lain-lain topik lah. Risk and materiality dengan ada topik yang relevan untuk masuk yang relevan for your final exam. Okay? Okay, so today kita akan masuk dulu tajuk ni ya kelasnya, tajuk apa ya? Okay, today kita akan masuk tajuk quality control pula, corporate governance. Okay, tajuk corporate governance ni I tak nak pergi detail sebab this topic basically you all dah kenapa dia jadi macam blur pula? Sebab this topic you all dah belajar a little bit dalam paper corporate governance, okay? And this topic tak masuk dalam final exam ya, this topic cuma untuk quiz 2 saja. Dalam test Pak I'm not so sure, nanti I double check balik ya kalau masuk ke tak masuk dalam test. Okay, so baca dulu kelas, what is corporate governance? You ada belajar kan a little bit on corporate governance kan? Okay, corporate governance is a process where to direct and to manage business. Okay, because this one is related to the agency theory lah. Pernah dengar tak perkataan agency theory, kelas? Pernah tak dengar perkataan agency theory? Pernah kan? Agency theory is a process where the BOD adalah the agents kepada shareholders. Am I right? Because here, for the example, we have the company. This company belongs to the shareholder, okay? But the shareholders, they are not the one who manage the company. So what the shareholders do adalah, the shareholders will appoint the board of the director to manage the company. So this is what we call as the agency theory lah. So basically, when the directors manage the company, they need to properly manage atau come up dengan policy and procedures ataupun whatever decision yang BOD buat, mestilah for the benefit of the shareholders. So dia punya main duty adalah try to maximize the wealth ataupun the wealth lah kan, try to maximize the shareholders wealth. Okay, macam mana dia nak maximize shareholders wealth adalah kalau you belajar dalam paper corporate governance, okay, so they try to maximize the share price of the company. Okay, because shareholders dia punya wealth, they will get income. Satu adalah through dividend and another one adalah melalui capital gain. Okay, capital gain meaning that the more share price naik, so they will get more capital gain. Okay, so this is the whole thing. This one kita panggil sebagai agency theory. Okay, and it is part of the corporate governance lah. So when we say corporate governance adalah is a structure used to direct and manage business. So basically siapa yang manage business? BOD yang manage the business. Okay, so bila BOD manage the business, they have to ensure that the business prosperity, accountability, profitability should be good. Okay, because at the end of the day, they try to maximize the shareholders' wealth. Okay, by giving more dividend kepada shareholders ataupun by giving more capital gain kepada shareholders. Okay, so other definition of corporate governance adalah under corporate governance adalah we want to ensure that those yang managing the business, which referring kepada BOD, okay, properly utilize their time. Dia kena guna dia punya masa, dia punya talents, okay, as well as dia punya resources, okay, in order to give the best benefit kepada shareholders. Okay, because basically they are the one yang work. They basically BOD ni kan, they work, dia bekerja for the benefit of shareholders lah. So apa-apa yang dia buat, mestilah dia kena fikir benefit kepada shareholders. Apa yang shareholders will get at the end of the day. Okay, so corporate governance, this one ada definition, so you boleh baca lah ya. It's a process of directing, controlling, managing, directing, controlling, managing and help to account. Okay, it involves establishing a control structure which consists the policy. So basically BOD, dia punya responsibility adalah they have to come out dengan good policy and procedures. Okay, rules and regulation for the company. Penting ya bagi top management. The higher you go, basically ya, kalau you kerja esok pun the same thing berlaku ya. The higher you go at the managerial level, you banyak buat kerja-kerja macam coordination, communication, evaluation, controlling, coordinating, okay? Tetapi bila you pergi higher level, you banyak fokus kepada give the directions of the company. You kena tahu direction company ni ke mana. You have to come out dengan policy and procedures that need to be adopted by the company, okay? So that one adalah duty you sebagai director, okay? So and then directors also need to ensure that kita kena ada good system lah. It will help the manager ataupun management to make the decisions, because one of the management function adalah decision making. That's why perlu kita ada good management accountant, okay? Sebab management accountant dia punya duty adalah to deliver information kepada management, so management will use those information for decision making. Okay, yang lain yang boleh baca ya kelas ya. So the objective of corporate governance adalah in long term, they try to increase the share price of the company. Okay, by increasing the share price of the company, so the shareholders akan dapat capital gain. Okay, so basically at the same time, dia also whatever decision yang dia buat, apa-apa pun dia kena fikir for the benefit of the shareholder. Okay, so this one adalah the corporate the corporate accountability framework. Okay, so what do we have here? Kita ada duty of the directors in the middle. Okay, so what do we have here? Directors they have the responsibility kepada shareholder as well as to other stakeholder, and they also need fulfill the requirement of the higher regulator. They kena follow law, regulation as well as standard that set up by higher authority. Okay, so sebagai management, basically directors will give their direction kepada management. Dia akan bagi direction and control kepada management. So management has to fulfill dia punya responsibility and management accountable kepada BOD. Okay, and then BOD responsible kepada shareholder as well as try to fulfill the regulators requirement. Okay, you all dah belajar benda ni kan kelas ya? Betul tak? Sebab I ngajar company secretary last semester. So I noticed that benda ni you all dah student student part 8 sepatutnya dah belajar lah benda ni kan? You all dah belajar ke kelas?
Dah, madam.
Kan? Okay, so I pergi detail ke? I just go through satu round je lah ya. So this one adalah the principal player in corporate governance. So untuk corporate governance, apa yang kita ada adalah satu, the main responsibility adalah BOD responsibility. The second one adalah we also need to have the audit committee. Audit committee dia adalah the independent body lah. Okay, and all PIE it is mandatory for them to set up the audit committee. Okay, so on top of it, the internal auditor will have the audit committee as well as management. Kalau ada macam if there is any something happen ke apa ke, so audit committee will instruct the management. So management will responsible kepada audit committee. Ya. Kalau you tengok kat sini, board of the directors, they need to dia dengan regulator, dia juga responsible kepada shareholder, dan kita juga we also have the external auditor. Normally external auditor, they will deal dengan management as well as the audit committee. Kalau ada apa-apa yang berlaku, external auditor will report directly kepada BOD ya. Tetapi bila kita report directly kepada BOD, dia ada some contradict information, okay, ataupun ada macam it's not that easy for external auditor to report kepada top management sebab kadang-kadang ada miscommunication ataupun top management might not happy with the external auditor's report. Okay, so starting 2002, apa yang Bursa Malaysia buat adalah they set up they come out with the requirement that all PIE they need to have their own audit committee. Jadi apa yang external auditor buat adalah if anything happen ataupun kalau external auditor discover something dekat that company, so the external auditor will report kepada audit committee. So audit committee will deal dengan BOD as well as the audit committee also will deal with the management of the company. Okay. So these are the principal player in corporate governance. Apa yang kita ada adalah shareholder. So shareholder they have to use dia punya power to vote. Okay, so every year kita akan buat AGM. Okay, kita akan appoint auditor. Okay, you also have the power to dismiss auditor. You also has the power to dismiss the directors. Okay, so you have to play your role sebagai shareholders. Okay, so kita juga ada BOD, Board of the Directors. Board of the Directors accountable to regulator for conformance with law and shareholder. Basically, BOD they are responsible kepada shareholder, our stakeholder as well as to the regulator. Okay, so kita juga ada BOD. BOD kena provide leadership and direction. BOD lah yang akan come out dengan policy and procedures of the company. So they are the one yang akan determine the directions of the company. Okay, so they need help daripada management. So management accountable kepada BOD. BOD yang come out dengan policy ya kelas, dia come out dengan policy and procedures. Yang implement policy and procedures adalah management. Okay, dia macam dalam in our country lah ya. Kita ada menteri dia come out dengan policy what they want to achieve and so on. Dan yang akan implement it adalah DG, Director General. Okay, so at the same time kita juga ada internal as well as the external auditor. Okay. This one adalah the development of corporate governance in Malaysia. Started in 1994 due to the Cadbury report. Okay, this one is started dengan apa yang berlaku dekat UK lah. Okay, so basically people more concerned about the duty and responsibility of the board of the directors sebab masa tu banyak berlaku cases where business failure. Kenapa business failure? Because BOD when they make the decisions ataupun bila dia buat dia tak ada proper direction for the company and they fail to manage the company. So bila ada business failure ataupun the BOD fail to manage the company, siapa yang suffer sebenarnya? BOD tu tak suffer, okay? So kadang-kadang dia orang dah transfer duit pada account dia orang dah kaya raya dah kan. So kalau dia kena buang ke, kena penjara ke whatsoever, they do not suffer so much, okay? Yang paling dapat big impact adalah shareholders of the company. Jadi apa yang dia come out dengan Cadbury report adalah dia come out dengan satu sistem ataupun dia nak mesti ada satu code of ethics on the board of the directors. Okay, kena come out dengan code of ethics, for example like what are the duties, responsibility, qualification, training untuk BOD, okay? Supaya BOD dia faham dia punya responsibility. Because sometimes, kadang-kadang BOD tu dia tak faham dengan dia punya responsibility. Because kadang-kadang bila dia buat decision, they do not think too much about what is the implication of dia punya decision kepada shareholders, okay? So basically Cadbury report ni kita banyak kepada protecting the shareholders because kita shareholders, we are the owner of the company but we do not manage the company. We rely solely kepada board of the directors to manage the company. Jadi we hope that BOD play dia punya role in managing the company, okay? So apa yang kita buat adalah in 2002 kita revamp KLSE listing requirement. Okay, this one you all boleh baca nantilah ya. And then kita juga ada RIIAM, Research Institute of Investment Analysis Malaysia. Kemudian kita juga ada MICG, Malaysia Institute of Corporate Governance. Okay, so okay, dan kita juga ada watchdog, okay, Minority Shareholder Watchdog Group, okay, that were incorporated in 2000. So Minority Shareholders Watchdog Group adalah is an organisation, non-profit organisation under Ministry of Finance lah. So basically MSWG dia adalah they try to protect the minority shareholders, okay? Kalau dulu apa yang berlaku adalah bila you buat voting lah macam AGM so on, so the vote will be depends kepada the number of share. Katakanlah bahawa you one person, you ada 10,000 share, so you punya vote dia punya count sebagai 10,000. Okay? Tetapi in 2000 onwards, so government dia adalah macam satu badan dia dah change dia punya policy, meaning that one person one vote regardless of the number of share that you have lah. Okay, that one pun you dah belajar dalam corporate governance. Okay, concept of the corporate governance. Dalam corporate governance, these are the things that yang kita nak kena implement. Satu adalah transparency. So we want to ensure that the BOD when they prepare the account, okay, the financial as well as the non-financial information should be easily available. Okay, you can easily get the information about BOD. You can easily get the information pasal company, okay. pasal dia punya investment and so on. Okay, so that one ataupun kalau you bukan shareholder pun, you orang biasa, you public, okay, ataupun you student, you nak dapat information pasal one company, you just pergi kepada dia punya company secretary dan check dia punya statutory books. Okay, it should be transparent. Okay, the second one, dia kena mestilah independent. Okay, procedure and structure of company should be put in place to minimize any conflict of interest. Okay, maksudnya macam you jadi director, you tak boleh jadi auditor at the same time. You mestilah independent. Okay, accountability, decision maker should be accountable for what they do. So BOD kalau dia buat decision salah, so they should be accountable kepada decision yang dia buat. Okay, a director should be liable for their performance. Okay, all the directors kalau dia tak perform, dia should answer kepada shareholders of the company. Fairness, all shareholders should receive equal consideration. Okay, macam I mention tadi kan, kalau dulu-dulu kita guna macam the number of vote depending kepada the lot. Dulu kita pakai lot of share, okay. Macam one lot adalah 1,000 unit of share, okay, ataupun one lot 1,000 unit. Okay, depending kepada number of share. The more you ada number of share, katakanlah bahawa you ada 30% share of the company, jadi you punya value of vote adalah 30%. Okay, kalau you vote seorang saja disagree ataupun agree, so you dah ada significant influence. Okay, tetapi sekarang kita guna equal, meaning that regardless of the size of share, vote dia adalah sama, unless if the shareholders request otherwise lah. Okay, and at the same time, sebagai company, in a company, kalau dulu company banyak sangat fokus kepada profit maximization, okay, sekarang company dia kena give more kepada society. Okay, so they have to come out dengan CSR project. Okay, even UiTM pun kita dah banyak buat CSR project. Yang student-student buat pun banyak kita involve kepada CSR project. It's a way untuk kita bagi balik kepada to the society. Okay, so on the directors, untuk corporate governance, so this one pun I rasa pun you ada belajar dalam paper CRG last time. Composition of the directors adalah one third or close to 1/3 of the directors must be independent directors. Kita ada banyak jenis director ya. Kita ada directors, independent director, kemudian kita ada apa lagi ya? Kita ada a few types of directors lah ya. So 1/3 of them executive director, non-executive director, apa lagi kita ada? Kita ada associate directors again. So 1/3 of them must be independent directors again. So right of the directors, director in charge, his duty should have the right to obtain. All the directors, they have the right to obtain all information fully access kepada company ya. Dia walaupun you are independent directors or non-independent directors, you have the right to obtain full and unrestricted access to any information of the company. Okay, you also have the right to get assistance daripada company secretary, and you have the right to hire consultant to help you on certain matters. Okay, so training, directors training, sebagai director you should undergo continuous training at least 42 hours a year. Okay, restriction of directorship, kalau dulu you boleh jadi directors kepada so many companies, unlimited. Pernah at one time kita jumpa seorang person, okay, jadi director kepada about 100 company. Okay, so bila Bursa Malaysia check, this person adalah, ini kes ni berlaku sebelum tahun 2000 lah ya. This person cumalah cleaner saja, cleaner something like that lah. Dia macam bukanlah someone yang educated. Okay, so apa yang company ni buat adalah some of the company use his name to appoint dia sebagai director, because at that time Bursa Malaysia come out with the policy where 30% of the directors must be Bumi's director. So dia just guna nama that person dan letakkan nama dia sebagai directors of the company. Bayarlah RM50 kot sebulan ke. Macam itulah dia bayar. ataupun RM30, RM50 sebulan sebagai allowance, okay. Tetapi with the new regulation, so Bursa Malaysia come out with the regulation where they limit directorship kepada 25 saja. Kalau you nak jadi director boleh, you can be the directors kepada 25 companies. 10 in direct, you boleh guna nama you kepada 10 in the listed company and 15 in the other companies, in the other private company lah. Okay. So vacation of the office of the directors become vacant if directors become unsound mind, bankrupt, absent meeting. You tak datang meeting 50% onwards. So basically you can be terminated, okay? Ataupun you tak boleh jadi directors of the company anymore lah, okay? Okay, this one adalah Bursa Malaysia requirement on corporate governance. This one is the on external auditor. Ya kelas ya, baca dulu on external auditor. Tadi requirement kepada director. Now we look at on external auditor. So all listed company must establish an audit committee. One thing all PIE kena ada is mandatory for them to have audit committee. Actually mula-mula dia started dengan voluntary. Okay, bila voluntary big company saja yang ada audit committee. Okay, kemudian in 2000 Bursa Malaysia kata come out with the regulation that all PIE, as long as you offer share kepada public, you should establish audit committee. Okay, so so they come out dengan code of ethics lah untuk audit committee ya. Function of audit committee, role, duties of audit committee, semuanya ada. So that one kita akan discuss dalam tajuk audit committee later on, okay. So this topic ada dua ya, satu adalah corporate governance and the second part of this topic adalah audit committee ya. So on external auditor, corporate governance adalah appointment of external auditor must appoint a suitable firm. Okay, they must have experience and resources, okay. Untuk PIE, for big company, you tak boleh appoint small audit firm to audit big company ataupun PIE, okay. You have to appoint big four to audit PIE, okay. So removal of the external auditor, nak remove auditor boleh ya, tetapi kena bagi representation letter to remove the auditor. Do you know the procedures to remove auditor, class? You tahu tak prosedur macam mana nak remove auditor?
Pernah belajar.
Pernah belajar? Ingat lagi tak? Sikit-sikit. Okay, siapa yang boleh remove auditor? Who has the power to remove auditor? Director ke shareholder?
Shareholders.
Shareholder saja yang boleh remove the auditors, okay. So bila shareholders nak remove auditor, shareholders need to conduct general meeting, okay. So dalam general meeting, they will discuss about the idea to remove auditor, okay. So dalam this general meeting, 50% of them agree to remove the auditor. So once they agree to remove auditor, they need to send special notice. Kalau tak ada special notice, this one pun you belajar dalam tajuk corporate governance ya. Kalau tak ada special notice, you cannot remove the auditor, okay. The special notice dia akan bagi kepada company referring kepada BOD lah ya. Dia akan bagi pada BOD dan BOD akan bagi this special notice kepada shareholder, kepada auditor. Jadi bila auditor ni dapat special notice, they know that the company try to remove him daripada become the auditors of the company. Jadi auditor ni dia boleh defend himself, okay. Jadi apa yang dia kena buat adalah the auditor ada masa 7 days, okay. Dalam masa 7 days after receive the special notice, the auditor can do the written representation. Dia akan buat representation. So this representation dia akan bagi balik daripada company dan company ni akan bagi satu kopi kepada Bursa Malaysia dan satu kopi lagi kepada Bursa Malaysia, satu kopi lagi dia akan hantar kepada shareholders, okay, and inform Bursa Malaysia and shareholders that they are in the process to remove the auditor, okay. Kemudian dia kena conduct lagi another meeting, another general meeting. Okay, dia kena conduct lagi dalam another general meeting, dan dalam that general meeting dia decide sama ada they want to remove the auditors or not. Jadi auditor boleh bacalah dia punya representation dalam this general meeting. Okay, so kalau dia nak remove the auditor, dia kena dapat special resolution 75%. 75% agree to remove, so barulah you can remove the auditor. Okay, so this one adalah removal of external auditor. Nak remove auditor, kena dapat a copy of the representation yang auditor buat tadi, one copy kena diberi kepada, kena hantar kepada Bursa Malaysia as well as SSM lah. Okay. Kemudian review of financial statement. External auditor should also review the statement made by board on internal control. This one by getting you kena dapatkan representation letter daripada management. This one representation letter. Nanti you kena tahu ya all this letter, nama-nama surat ni ya kelas ya. Nanti kita akan tengok detail lagi lihat kemudian ya. Okay, you kena dapatkan representation letter daripada management. Dalam that representation letter tu, management kena buat macam akuan. Akuan ni apa ya? Macam dia kena buat akuan lah yang the company have a good internal control system, and the internal control system be able to detect and prevent fraud and error. Okay. Kemudian untuk external auditor also has the right to request for meeting. The auditor has a right to ask for meeting with audit committee as and when the auditors think it is necessary for him to discuss ataupun dia nak bring special certain issue kepada audit committee. So dia boleh request untuk to have the meeting with the audit committee. Okay, boleh ya kelas ya? This one adalah corporate governance on external auditor. Okay, effective governance principle and best practice untuk leadership. To have a good corporate governance, kita kena ada good leadership, stewardship, as well as good control. Okay, you know, abang ni ke? You boleh baca sendiri ke kelas? Ke nak I go one by one? Cepat cakap beritahu I. Boleh?
One by one lah, Madam.
One by one okay. To have a good corporate governance, satu adalah leadership yang paling penting ya. So leadership, siapa yang kena lead the company? Yang lead the company adalah BOD lah, okay. Effective board will enhance the competitive because because we want to ensure the company be in the right direction, okay. So effective we need to have good BOD, okay. We enhance competitiveness of the company, and then dia akan establish, bagi confident kepada shareholders. Jadi you pun kalau you nak beli saham share dekat that company, you rasa confident dengan di BOD because you know that BOD memang ada right track, right direction, proper planning and so on, okay. So bila shareholders ada confident kepada company tu, so you are willing to buy share dekat that company. Sebab bila lagi ramai orang willing to buy share dekat that company, so it will increase the share price of the company, okay. So effective board also will ensure that organization is trustworthy, honest, and there is no corruption in the company, okay. So sebagai board of the directors, you kena tunjukkan a good role model lah. Dia macam kalau audit firm, partners yang kena tunjuk good role model kepada auditors, okay. In the company, BOD kena tunjuk role models kepada dia punya VP, Vice President, as well as dia punya all the managers as well as dia punya other employees, okay. Not just focus, they are not supposed to focus on profit saja. They also need to focus on other things lah, macam social responsibility and so on, okay. BOD, they have to be transparent, dia kenalah loyal, okay, diligent, and dia mesti ada good attitude, okay, and try to show, be professional when they manage the company, okay. Okay, second one adalah stewardship. Do you know what is a stewardship principle? You tahu kan stewardship principle kan? A stewardship principle is just like the agency theory lah. Stewardship principle meaning that BOD manage the company but for the benefit of the shareholders, okay. So board ni kita panggil dia sebagai steward. Okay, that's why kita come out dengan stewardship principle. I'm sure you ada biasa dengar perkataan agency theory, stewardship principle, okay. Steward ni a person yang ada, a person with responsibility to the other party, okay. That one we call it as steward, okay. So, of a company asset, so basically dia adalah the person who is responsible, yang take care the company asset, have a good moral, statutory obligation to work with management, okay, because dia ada, because BOD yang akan manage the managers, okay, to add value to those assets. So by doing that, we hope that our asset will give more value kepada our company. Jadi macam harta company to the wealth of the company will increase, okay. So macam mana board of the directors akan maximize ataupun maximize the shareholders wealth, okay. Nombor satu, dia kena ada good strategic planning. Everything mestilah datang daripada board of the directors and will be implemented by the management, okay. Sebagai board of the directors, you mesti ada good strategic planning. Kenapa kita panggil strategic planning, not planning, ya? Kalau strategic planning meaning that it's focus kepada long term planning. What we are going to achieve in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, and in the next 20 years, okay. So the directors kena ada good direction, okay. Sebagai directors, you also need to focus kepada risk management, okay. So risk management, sometimes some of the factors within our control, some of the factors beyond our control, external factors, okay. Tetapi macam mana kita nak try to minimize the risk. For the example, bila COVID-19 datang kan, some company collapse, some company they use that one sebagai opportunity, okay, untuk dia create another business, okay. Macam tu kita tengok Jovian tu kan, kalau you tengok Jovian tu macam dia buat fashion designer, so bila COVID-19 datang dia aware yang dia tak boleh jual pakaian, okay, at that time, so they come out dengan other business. That's why the company still be able to survive, okay. So benda-benda ni top management ataupun BOD kena fikir clearly lah ya. Kalau ada benda, if anything happen, something yang beyond your control, macam mana how we are going to minimize it? Ataupun macam mana kita boleh tukar daripada threat kepada opportunity for the company, okay. So next one adalah human resource management. Sebagai top management, you also need to, kita kena ada system and procedures how to hire new staff, okay. Higher standard of selecting, macam mana you nak select staff. Kalau you tengok sekarang ni, bila you nak kerja esok-esok pun, you akan perhatilah ya. Some company bila nak select staff is a very long process, okay. So top management lah yang akan determine the process and procedures. Apa yang the company tu kena buat in selecting the staff, especially at the managerial level, okay. How to compensate you punya employees. Macam mana you nak monitor employees. How to measure dia punya performance, because we are the one yang kena set dia punya KPI, ya, performance of the key personnel, performance of the senior management, okay. So it is the responsibility of BOD. Okay, yang buat polisi management BOD, yang implement it adalah management, okay. So kemudian kita kena ada communication policy. Communication policy kita ada dua lah. Satu from the top to bottom and another one daripada bottom to up, okay. So communication line kita kena ada, it must be good communication, flow of information mestilah proper. Kita tak nak ada miscommunication ataupun kadang-kadang benda tu dah 2-3 hari, benda tu dah lapuk baru nak deliver the information. The information should be delivered on time. Okay, and then mesti dapatkan proper feedback daripada lower level. Okay, kemudian internal control assurance sebagai top management, you also need to establish adequate, okay, adequate internal control system. Selalu guna perkataan adequate internal control system, okay. Kita tak guna perkataan good sebab kadang-kadang kita dah ada good ICS, okay, tetapi as your business expand, okay, as you lagi venture kepada new industry, you need to upgrade your internal control system. So we have to ensure that our internal control system must be good, okay. The board should review and see the integrity of the company accounting, financial reporting, and as well as the internal control system. The same thing goes to you punya accounting information system lah. Accounting information system pun should be upgrade from time to time, okay? Okay, itu adalah stewardship, okay? And then last one adalah control. So the third component of the corporate governance adalah monitoring. Sebagai board of directors, basically you need to control the activities of the organisation as a whole, okay? So kena ada proper continuous monitoring system, okay? So continuous monitoring system will also provide assurance, okay? So to ensure that everything goes as what we plan. Kadang-kadang kita ada sistem and procedures bukan main canggih, bukan main bagus lagi ya. Tetapi when come to implementation, the employees do not implement it. Okay. Jadi apa yang kita nak adalah kita ada good system, good internal control system. Okay. So at the end of the day, apa yang kita nak adalah we also want the employees follow kita punya rules and regulation as well as follow the system lah. Jangan nama saja sistem tu ada ya, tetapi we do not implement it. Okay, okay, this one adalah a good corporate governance. This one adalah requirement. Okay, this is what we require. This is what we the requirement imposed kepada board of the directors. This one adalah bawah Company Act, okay, to avoid any conflict of interest, okay, kita kena follow. Sekarang kita dah tak panggil memorandum and article of association lagi, kita kena, we call it as constitution, so we need to follow the constitution. Constitution company tu boleh they can have their own constitution, tak ada masalah ya. Tetapi kalau company, kita bagi optional, kalau you tak nak ada your own constitution, you boleh follow apa yang ada dalam Company Act, okay? Because later on, kalau let's say you ada constitution, tetapi ada contradict dengan apa yang ada dalam Company Act, kita masih guna apa yang ada dalam Company Act, okay? Tetapi kita memang advise for PIE, you should have your own constitution, okay? Constitution ni dia macam contract lah ya, contract between top management dengan lower level management, okay? BOD company dengan shareholders among them and so on. Kita mesti ada proper rules and regulation. Kalau dulu kita panggil memorandum of association and article of association. Tapi sekarang kita dah tak pakai MNA lah. Kita pakai starting 2018 16 under Companies Act 2016, kita panggil dia sebagai constitution. Okay. Okay, so specifically the director's responsibility, okay. So these are the director's responsibility, I think more or less the same. To set objective, review, okay, to oversee the management because the BOD need to monitor the management, okay. To oversee human resource management, to develop and implement investor relationship. So dia kena ada good relationship dengan investor, okay. To review adequate and integrity of the system. Dia kena, from time to time, dia kena review dia punya accounting information system, financial system, as well as internal control system, okay. So dia juga the one yang akan select the CEO, CFO, COO, okay. Kemudian to prescribe the transaction that required board approval. Sebab some of the transaction, certain amount, kita memang perlukan approval daripada board of the directors. For example, like acquisition of the machinery, acquisition of the property, okay. That one tak boleh dibuat at managerial level, okay. That one mesti dapat approval daripada directors. That's why bila kita buat audit procedures later on, kalau kadang-kadang dalam exam dia banyak tanya pasal audit procedures. So one of it adalah we need to review BOD minutes of meeting. Okay, macam mana you nak tahu sama ada BOD dah approve ke tak? You tak boleh, sebab kita sebagai director, sebagai auditor, we cannot join BOD meeting. Kita boleh join AGM and other general meeting. As long as the meeting involve shareholder, auditors has the right to attend the meeting. Tetapi auditors cannot attend the BOD meeting unless by invitation. Unless kalau BOD invite you to join the meeting. Macam for example, untuk dapatkan your opinion and so on lah. Okay. So under that situation dibenarkan. Okay. Tetapi kalau you sebagai auditor, you nak tahu sama ada transaction tu dah di-approve or not by BOD, so we need to review BOD minutes of meeting. Itu yang penting sekali sebagai auditor, okay. So kemudian kita juga ada, okay, that's all untuk corporate governance. Okay, next one kita akan tengok pula kepada audit committee. Okay, baca dulu audit committee kelas. Okay. So audit committee requirement of the audit committee, all PIE, okay, public interest entity, they should have their audit committee. Okay, all listed company, federal statutory body refer kepada GLC, government listed company, and bank and other financial institution, they should have their own audit committee. Okay, so tugas audit committee ni adalah to assist board of the directors to give second opinion, independent opinion kepada board of the directors. Tetapi dia tak akan interfere kerja-kerja board of directors. Okay, so dia tak akan ambil alih duties and responsibilities of BOD. Dia just give just nak bagi second opinion, independent opinion kepada BOD lah, okay. In discharging their duties relating to the company, internal control, okay. So kita banyak fokus kepada internal control, accounting policy, financial reporting, and then communication, ni yang penting communication between auditors and top management. So dia akan jadi orang tengah lah. Kalau macam any communication between auditor and BOD, auditor akan melalui audit committee. So audit committee yang akan deliver it kepada board of the directors, okay. Kenapa perlunya audit committee? The reasons why, because we need to protect the shareholders, okay. So basically kat audit committee ni dia punya position adalah, for the example here kita ada chairman ke, depending kepada company kadang-kadang some company dipanggil MD, managing director. Managing directors, kat bawah-bawah ni kita panggil, all this one adalah directors, okay. Depending on the company, some company dipanggil sebagai VP, Vice President, okay. So kat sini adalah audit committee. Audit committee dia adalah between chairman dengan BOD ataupun managing director dengan directors, okay. So dia adalah independent lah. Audit committee do not involve in decision making. Okay. Sekejap lagi kelas ya. Okay. The reasons why we need audit committee adalah due to the major fraud, strong criticism. Okay. So because kita nak protect the shareholders lah, due to the fraud normally by BOD lah ni ya. Jadi kita kena ada someone yang monitor apa yang BOD buat. Because at the end of the day, kita nak protect the shareholder. Kita nak protect the shareholders. Okay, so kita tak nak macam Because at the end of the day, kalau apa-apa business failure, shareholders will suffer the loss. Okay. So basically, we want to protect the shareholders. Okay, reporting level. So what do we have here? Kita BOD, Audit Committee, Company Secretary, Managing Director, Department. Okay. Dia depends kepada company ya. Kadang-kadang dia punya flow macam it can be like this. Okay, it can be like this. Okay. So kadang-kadang board of directors, audit committee, managing director. Kat sini ni kebanyakan sini adalah all the directors lah here ya. And then here adalah department. Okay. All the manager. Setiap director dia ada dia punya manager. Okay. So apa lagi kita nak cover? I think tak banyak lagi kot ya. Sebab lepas ni kita cover pasal BOD saja. So this one adalah the reporting level of the audit committee. Okay. So what do we have here? Kita ada BOD, company secretary. Bawah BOD kita ada company secretary and audit committee. Okay. So bawah audit committee yang report kepada audit committee adalah internal auditor. Internal auditor dia will report directly kepada audit committee. Okay. Dia report more on the control assessment, review process, reporting. External auditor also report kepada audit committee. And for big company, they would have another department. They call it as the risk management committee. Okay, risk management committee dia juga di bawah audit committee. Okay, so basically risk management committee adalah dia fokus pada risk mitigation and identify risk of the company. Okay, penting ya for the company to have a risk management committee. Sebab kadang-kadang kalau small company kan dia rasa macam membazir untuk ada risk management committee. Okay, tetapi for big company it is necessary for them to have the risk management committee. Even UiTM pun kita ada risk management committee. Kalau ada apa-apa hal, so the risk management committee will discuss how to reduce the problem. Okay, ataupun macam mana nak minimize it lah kan. Kadang-kadang kita nak totally eliminate pun is not possible, but we try to minimize it. Okay. Now kita tengok the role of audit committee. The responsibility ataupun the role of audit committee adalah to assist the director. Ingat ya, audit committee they are not the employees of the company. Kita just lantik dia just pergi untuk buat untuk meeting saja, okay? Because they are independent body, okay? So dia pun tak dapat salary, they just get the allowance, okay? So in discharging their statutory duties and responsibility. So basically the director still responsible lah ya. The director still liable in preparing the financial statement, and the audit committee minimize the involvement of the board of the directors. Okay. Monitor company activity. So dia juga akan monitor company activity. Okay. So basically dia akan access kepada accounting record. Dan dia akan tengok lah kalau kadang-kadang kalau macam company ni macam activity dia buat tu macam they want to venture in certain industry which is not profitable. So dia akan advise the board of the directors. Kadang-kadang ada some company kan you nak venture kepada new business. So dia akan buat some evaluation lah sama ada it will give the benefit kepada company as a whole ataupun tak. Okay. So bila ada audit committee, so public lagi confidence kepada company tu ya. It will increase the credibility and objectivity of the financial reporting. Sebab management yang prepare the financial statement, so under audit committee supervision, okay. So the financial statement is more free from bias, okay. So support the audit function. Audit committee also help to support the audit function, and then monitor, ensure that all the material item should be disclosed in the financial statement. Kadang-kadang some of the material item, for the example like item yang macam non-adjusting event macam example of non-adjusting event should be properly disclosed in the financial statement. Kita ada dua ya, satu kita ada adjusting event and another one adalah non-adjusting event. Untuk adjusting event, we need to adjust the financial statement. Tetapi for non-adjusting event, it should be properly disclosed in the notes to the account. Okay. So role of the audit committee, we all baca lah the role of the audit committee. Yeah. Okay, composition members of the audit committee. The audit committee shall be among the directors of the company. I think 1/3 of them adalah directors of the company, and then shall be appointed by the board. Okay, so should consist of not less than 3 members with the majority of minimum 3 of them adalah independent directors. Okay, audit committee to be chaired by independent non-executive. The chairperson untuk audit committee adalah mesti daripada non-executive director. Ni juga orang belajar sebelum ni ya. Okay, this one ni. And then one of them mestilah MIA members. Kalau bukan MIA members pun, at least one of the audit committee punya team mestilah ada accounting background. Okay. Okay, this one boleh skip ya. This one kita bagi contoh untuk Lion Group. Okay. This one adalah the example of the Lion Group. This one kita dapat notes ni daripada CRG punya notes lah. Okay, all this one adalah the example daripada Lion Group. Membership, authority, power, duties of the audit committee. Okay. Okay, next one kita tengok kepada drawback of the audit committee. You ada kelas ke? Kejap lagi ada some of you ada kelas ke? Tak ada kan? Boleh ya? Yang lain-lain akan nak sentuh ya. This is the last slide. Okay. So what are the disadvantage of the audit committee and how to overcome the problem? Okay. The disadvantage of audit committee ataupun the drawback of audit committee adalah number one, dia adalah sometimes audit committee ni dia orang rasa macam interfere. Dia akan banyak, some of the directors do not really like it lah. Okay. So because dia akan interfere the executive decision of the directors. Again, they sometimes tend to undermine the authority of the board. Okay. There may be a conflict. Tapi kadang-kadang ada conflict between idea daripada audit committee. So kadang-kadang too much interference pun tak bagus. Sebagai audit committee, you tak boleh interfere. You just oversee saja. Tetapi kadang-kadang bila dia monitor or oversee, dia terlebih-lebih kan. So dia nak interfere apa yang BOD tu buat. Okay. So kalau dia interfere, dia akan jadi macam ada konflik antara audit committee dengan board of the directors. Okay. So there may be a conflict of mistrust and misunderstanding among committee management, internal auditor and external auditors. Okay. So macam mana nak overcome audit committee, you sebagai audit committee, you kena faham your role and responsibility. Okay. Then you kena ada good communication between you dengan board of the directors lah. You have to be, sebagai audit committee, we have to be professional. Okay, sebab kita kena professional, we should know our role and responsibility. Ingat ya, sebagai audit committee, you just monitor, oversee saja. Bukannya interfere ataupun influence them to make the decision. Because at the end of the day, kalau apa-apa berlaku salah, okay, katakanlah bahawa decision yang dia buat tu salah based on your advice, you tak ada apa-apa tanggungjawab ya. The responsibility still board of directors, BOD punya responsibility. Okay, so audit committee memang kalau you bagi wrong idea ke, salah suggestion ke, dan you suruh dia orang ambil your suggestion, at the end of the day anything happen, you lepas tangan. Okay, so apa-apa yang berlaku still BOD punya responsibility. That's why you tak boleh interfere ataupun you tak boleh influence them to make the decision. Okay. Okay, second one adalah audit committee have notice, meaning that kadang-kadang apa yang dia buat adalah dia just jadikan audit committee tu sebagai window dressing. You tahu kan what is window dressing kan? Okay, window dressing saja. Dia because dakwah adalah requirement daripada Bursa Malaysia untuk all company mandatory for them to have the audit committee.
Kadang-kadang you pun buatlah satu audit committee tetapi tak ada kuasa pun. Okay, you just jadikan dia just to fulfill Bursa Malaysia punya requirements. Okay, so how to overcome it? Audit committee must be and be seen to be independent with authority given to back up their responsibility. So apa yang kita kena buat adalah as long as you are in the audit committee, you should know your role and responsibility. Bukannya duduk diam saja jadi macam boneka saja dekat company tu. So you should play your role and your responsibility sebagai audit committee. Okay. Legal liability of audit committee members. So basically audit committee do not relieve. Okay, macam this one I dah mention tadi ya. Apa-apa yang audit, kalau you ada audit committee pun, apa-apa yang berlaku, it is still the BOD responsibility. Okay. However, audit committee members may increase their exposure to possible additional liability because of the extra responsibility entrusted to them. Jadi basically you sebagai audit committee do not get involved dalam running the business lah. Okay. Sebab at the end of the day, apa-apa yang berlaku, the responsibility bukan pergi kepada audit committee ya. Dia akan jadi responsibility kepada BOD. This one I missed. Okay, the full board is distant from the financial matters and the external auditor. Okay, this happen when BOD have discharged the duty of audit committee but still have full responsibility on the financial matter of the company. Okay, boleh ya? Nanti awak baca lah. Okay. Auditor's role in corporate governance. I think this one you boleh baca sendiri kot kelas. This one pun, all this note pun ayat kita ambil daripada subjek company secretary. Tapi kalau you nak pilih I go to pun boleh sekejap. Okay. This one adalah the auditor's role in corporate governance. So what is your responsibility sebagai auditors in corporate governance adalah you kena give assurance, okay? Assurance of integrity and reliability of internal control and risk management system of client. Okay. So macam mana you nak dapat ni, mesti dapatkan proper representation letter daripada management. Okay. You have to be independent. You have to perform your job with good quality. You kena follow auditing standard. Then we try to reduce this expectation gap. So that's all. So type of director ni tak perlu cover kot. Tak masuk pun dalam exam ni. Okay. This one semuanya daripada corporate governance punya ni. Okay, kita ada MIGS ya. Malaysia Institute of Corporate Governance. Okay. Ni awak boleh baca sendiri ya kelas ya. Okay, that's all. Okay, do you have any question class?
No, madam. No, madam.
Okay. Sure ya? Okay. So just baca a little bit. This topic cuma untuk quiz saja. Quiz this topic dengan tajuk using the word of other expert. So nanti after test kita terus akan buat quiz 2 nanti. Actually quiz 1 lah, yang hari tu you buat quiz 2 kan. Tapi quiz I akan bagi soalan straightforward, direct question saja. Okay?
Boleh madam.
Boleh ya? Okay, satu lagi, kalau you perasan, bila I bagi quiz hari tu, I banyak tanya soalan pasal audit procedures, okay? So, because later on, dalam following topics later on, soalan banyak tanya about audit procedures. Apa yang penting adalah bila soalan tanya pasal audit procedures, you should know how to answer the question lah. Sebab dia ada macam certain technique, certain words yang you kena guna when answering the question on audit procedures, okay? Jadi apa yang I nak you buat adalah, I nak you cuba buka balik your lecture, your notes untuk tajuk other audit services and other non-assurance services. You baca bahagian audit procedures. Okay, cuba familiarkan yourself dengan macam mana notes tu, ada ayat yang dia guna, words yang dia guna
bila come to audit procedures. Okay. Nanti later on I explain kat you how to answer the questions bila soalan tanya on audit procedures lah. Sorry lah, I macam berbelit-belit cakap sebab about 2 weeks, 1 minggu lebih I cuti sebab I bukan masalah, I ada kampung, ada problem kat sana. That's why I macam baru nak start kelas this week. So luckily I buat quiz dengan you all kan last week kan, kalau tak macam banyak benda yang tertinggal. Okay, so kalau you all tak ada apa-apa masalah, so that's all for today. Or if you have any question, you can ask me the question.
Madam, nak tanya. Tadi Madam sebut governance masuk quiz
Governance masuk quiz saja. Dia tak masuk dalam final exam. Audit committee pun.
Sebab dalam lesson plan masuk test.
Oh, sampai corporate governance ya? Masuk test ya?
MIA, legal ability and quality control and also
okay lah, masuklah kalau macam tu.
Oh, okay.
Cuma yang I ingat dia tak masuk dalam final exam.
Final exam tak ada.
Tapi tak apa, nanti before test, bila I dah finalize start ni, I akan bagi tahu lagi sekali what are the topics yang cover dan markup untuk setiap topik untuk test.
Okay, Madam.
Okay, anything else? Tapi final exam dah tak masuk dah. Kalau dulu masuk, sekarang dah tak ada dah tajuk this topic. Tapi dia juga masuk dalam quiz kan? Ada tak?
Tak ada, Madam.
Tak ada, Madam.
So quiz tu you masuk
audit. Group audit nama dia.
Quiz tu tajuk apa?
Group audit dengan using the
word
of other.
Group audit dengan using the word of other expert. Okay, that one kita akan buat towards the end lah. Sebab dia bukan apa, sebab dia macam macam paper ni dia macam almost every semester tukar resource person. So bila resource person naik yang baru dia tukar a little bit format. Dia buat minor changes lah kan. So kadang-kadang I pun tak aware sangat. Okay, dekat-dekat ni baru I review balik apa-apa benda. Okay, so kalau macam tu dia kalau sampai masuk corporate governance, meaning dia akan ada clause, kita akan buat soalan by law, satu soalan, by law one question, 20 marks. Okay, kemudian legal liability, satu soalan, dan kita akan combine soalan corporate governance dengan audit quality. Corporate governance, audit quality biasanya 10 marks sajalah. Okay, so by law 20 marks, legal liability 20 marks.
Okay.
Tapi apa-apa if there is any changes, kalau ada changes nanti I let you know. Okay?
Okay, Madam.
Once ada dapat feedback daripada resource person, okay? Okay, bye. So, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.